Say the cackle's back, and it's all I hear. Vance so Watson and Shields feel the fear. Kamala's creeping through the night. What a fright, what a plan in hand. But something ain't right. Halloween night, watch her eyes, oh beware. In the shadows lurks a smile, got you caught in her snare. Tricks or treats, she says with that infamous laugh. But behind the charm, you see a twisted path. Eyes gleam in the dark like a witch on the prowl. With a grin that can make even nightmares howl. Power in her step, ambition in her gaze. But the closer she gets, the more you feel a haze. The cackle's back, and it's echoing loud. Is it power she wants, or a sinister shroud? Ear to ear grin with that spine-chilling sound. Who knows what nightmares she'll bring to town? Her smile shines bright like a jack-o'-lantern's glow. But underneath there's more we don't know. Campaign promises like candy, oh so sweet. But every word's got a hint of trickery beneath. Black suit, black heels, yeah she's dressed to rule. But that cackle makes the boldest feel like a fool. Policies disguised like treats in disguise. But don't be fooled by those twinkling eyes. The cackle's back and it's haunting my dreams. It's the spookiest sound, making silent screams. Kamala's here, ready to win. But there's something dark behind that ear-to-ear grin.
All right. Good morning, Owasso. It's the twins with Owasso Live, and this is the morning loop. That has AI gone too far, guys. I mean, that is just an AI-generated song and video. I mean, this is the future, guys. I mean, pretty soon you will be able to render full movies of exactly what you want. I mean, like, this is going to destroy the Hollywood previs industry. So, like, you know, famously, Peter Jackson hired his next-door neighbor kid to do sketches for every shot of his movie. And he paid him for it. You know, like that. This is going to make that go away. All you have to do is type in your script and be like, close up, and you can edit everything you want, and it'll pre-render it all for you. I mean, like I said, pretty soon they won't even need actors. But yeah, no, so it's creepy. It's weird, this AI stuff. Either way, we'll jump right on into the show. Today's topic is Joe Rogan and JD Vance burn Kamala. You know, I mean, this is what you get. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe while you're here watching the show right now, because we're trying to grow the channel and get bigger reach out there so we can spread the word and just have some fun and get a bigger audience for y'all. But with that being said, Kamala Harris shot herself in the foot by not going on the Joe Rogan podcast. But again, I don't think she's capable of going on the Joe Rogan podcast. I mean, Joe could fact check her live on his show. She could be like, Trump said this, and then he'd be like, Jamie, pull that up real quick. And then she just could not handle that smoke. She could not handle that smoke. Again, they said, how selfish of Joe Rogan to not come to Kamala. It's like, she went to Shannon Sharp's show, the Shay Shay podcast. Shannon Sharp's a Democratic shill. She went to the Breakfast Club. They're shills for the Democratic Party. She went to the Call Her Daddy podcast, which is arguably the biggest podcast she went on. And again, softball questions. You know, they probably told that chick on that. They probably told everyone, these are the questions you're allowed to ask Kamala. And again, Joe Rogan's organic. You know, he's going to go. The conversation's going to go again. Him and Trump were talking about aliens at one point. And JD Vance and Joe Rogan were talking about kids cursing.
Yeah.
So
very relatable raising children and family story. And Kamala Harris, remember, Kamala Harris has no kids of her own. She only has stepchildren from her husband who were practically grown by the time that they got married.
Yeah. So again, she doesn't really have any stake in the game. Again, you know, it's childless women who will literally come in and become the cat ladies, or, you know, instead of having their own kids to nurture and grow and care about their development, her children is the world. This is why Germany, Angela Merkel, is such a bad leader in Germany. She was like, let me take in your sick and needy. And now they have tons of problem with Islamic immigration into their country. I mean, they had that whole New Year's Eve grape night or sexual assault night, that all those Islamic immigrants were just grabbing women, taking them down to the tunnels, and they were having they were running trains on women, if you know what I mean. Do you catch my drift? If you understand up-to-date lingo, they were there was guys down there taking turns with the women they were dragging down. And the media's like, that's not real. It didn't happen. I mean, there's footage of women being dragged down there screaming for help. No one could do anything about it. I mean, unless you got a machine gun and just started shooting through the crowd.
Yep. But
this is what happens when you invite cultures that don't care about your values.
exactly. But I have some clips pulled up from this, and like the best part of this Kamala Harris canceling and Trump bringing on JD Vance, the best part about this is it literally was just a show of them making fun of her like the entire time. They were just calling her out like the whole night. Now, not purposely. They weren't being super mean about it because Joe still wants to have a conversation with her. But so I've got some stuff pulled up. I'll go ahead and just start playing. You want me to full screen this?
Shoot, yeah, go for it.
Okay, give me 1 second here. And I will transfer it over to the multi-screen and transition.
The only way I can describe it is she talks in circles.
Yeah.
Right? It's like...
Tim Dillon says it's like she does gypsy curses because she speaks in gypsy curses.
That's very good. But it's, we need to build an opportunity economy because if Americans don't have opportunity, then they're not going to have the opportunity to be Americans. The only way I can describe it is...
That is great stuff.
She speaks in gypsy curses. That's good. But yeah, she says a whole lot of nothing. I mean, she says like 100 words, but doesn't say anything with the 100 words she says.
Yep.
It's a masterclass, and she could teach masterclasses in saying nothing.
Yep. And then I've got this one pulled up here where they talk about voter ID, which is I just pulled up a few clips from the show. But yeah, this one's where Joe Rogan gives his take on voter ID, and his take is, I don't understand how voter ID could be seen as racist or anything. The only thing the only conclusion he can come from is that people are trying to cheat. The only reason that you would not want an ID to vote is if you were wanting to cheat.
And this is Joe Rogan, guys. Joe Rogan is not a conservative by any stretch of the mind.
I'll transition to the big screen real quick, and we're playing.
The one that drives me the most crazy is this idea that somehow or another it's discriminatory to require ID to vote.
It's nuts.
That could only mean, I've tried to look at this from the most charitable position outside of it, only makes sense if you're trying to cheat.
That's exactly right.
You need an ID for everything.
Yeah.
You need an ID to rent a car.
Well, it's basically illegal now in California.
Yes.
To ask for voter ID.
Which is crazy.
Which is totally insane. But, my view, and I'm sure you got many, many listeners in the great state of California, the next time you're pulled over by a police officer, just tell them that you're on your way to vote.
I've seen that meme.
I mean, think about this.
Yeah.
If you can't require people to show voter ID, then I think you're inviting fraud into your system. And there's also something implicitly very racist about this, because what they say is voter ID means that black people aren't going to vote.
Right here.
Well,
JD's right. We do need voter ID. But again, they don't care in California. In California, that joke is good. But remember, Adam Carolla talked about this too on his show. If you watch Adam Carolla, look, you can see it. It's happening in New York too now. But they have those little, they have orange stands set up. And if you're a homeless person or an illegal immigrant who sets up an orange stand, you're illegally selling oranges because you're supposed to have a permit to sell oranges. You're supposed to have a permit to be a vendor on the side of the road. Yeah. They don't care. The police aren't going to arrest those immigrants because they can't make any money off them. You know who they will arrest? If I set up a stand on the side of the road and they're going, hey, look, that's a white dude. He probably lives around here. It's like, you, sir, what are you doing? That's the double standard. Again, we do have a parallel or dual application of the law against citizens and illegal immigrants. Look, the citizen we know has money. The citizen we know if we tax them and financially harm them in any way, lock them up, that's going to affect them. He'll lose his house, he'll lose his home. The illegal immigrants, they're giving, Gavin Newsom's giving $50,000 loans to illegal immigrants to buy a house. And you wonder why the housing crisis is going here. You wonder why people are like, I can't afford a home. No shit. Because they're giving your tax dollars, $50,000 in tax dollar loans to illegal immigrants. And here we are sitting there putting our hands out going, I'm having trouble buying groceries. It's like, what are you? asking for a handout? What's wrong with you? I hate citizens in this country. I can't believe that they would actually think that they need a handout.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you have to also remember it's the same thing with like what we talk about, like in insurance wise, is how many. If you don't have insurance, they're supposed to tow your car. I'll tell you this right now. I don't know very many people who don't have insurance that I've ever heard them getting their car towed away. It's because there's no profit in telling an illegal immigrant we're going to tow your car away because they're just going to abandon it and go get another one.
I cannot tell you how many of our customers in our book of business here will get into a wreck with someone who's not from around here, and they go, yeah, the police showed up, took the report, but then they just said, see you later, call and file it on your insurance. Like, let me tell you this right now, folks. So the police officers here and actually everywhere have decided not to declare fault on any accidents that happen. So if you're in a wreck and somebody rear ends you, the person who rear ends you is at fault, right? Exactly. So the police will not declare fault anymore because they're taking that liability responsibility off of themselves. They go, like, because lawyers will come and go, you can't declare fault. You're not an adjudicator of the law. You can't determine that. So police officers just like, call your own insurance and file a claim. Don't do that. Don't file a claim on your insurance if you know you're not at fault. You file on the other party. I cannot tell you how many of my customers have called in saying, yeah, the police just told me to file on my insurance. Don't do that. The police are just trying to settle this dispute with this minimal conflict and confrontation as possible. And they know if that you just file it on your own insurance policy, that the insurance companies can fight each other instead of, two people going, that guy did this and I'm just sick of this crap. It's like, if you know you're not at fault, file on the other insurance party. Do not file on your own insurance. Don't waste your insurance agent's time. Don't waste your time, and don't waste your insurance company's time. It's like, wait, you weren't at fault? Like, I can't tell you how many people call in and say, like, wait, you're not at fault in this, right? No, yeah, they hit me from behind. Why are you calling me? You should have got their insurance information and called and filed on them.
Yep.
So again, but again, we live in this parallel economy now, where again, the law is applied differently to people who are citizens and taxpayers versus people who are here illegally.
Yep.
So yeah, this is a problem. So your housing crisis is the illegal immigration is not the only reason the housing crisis is happening, but it's a big contributor to it. There's a higher demand for houses. There's not as many houses. So houses, what's going to happen when there's more demand? The price is going to go up. Supply is low, demand is high.
Yep.
Price goes up. Supply is high, demand is low. Price goes down.
Yeah. And then not to mention, like in California, why it's super high in California is because all the regulations for building homes and apartments and everything else is so ridiculous that you have to jump.
You have to have a $50,000 license to be able to install a toilet in California.
You have to jump through so many hoops, so they can't build as many houses as there are people. So there's fewer houses. There's practically no new houses. So you can only buy super expensive old houses.
Yep.
And the problem is with the saturated market with all the new illegal immigrants rolling in is they're buddying up with 10 to 20 other roommates, which is also what most, college kids, like I knew who go to college to try to work in film or whatever in LA all do. You're living in a 1-bedroom apartment with 5 roommates. It's the same with illegal immigrants with houses. They'll literally room up with 10 to 20 other people and they're all in the same house and they're all paying rent on that house, And you can't do that legally, but they just come in, oh, it's just me and my family. Well, it doesn't tell you that his family is also all of his work buddies and everybody else.
Yep. Exactly. So we have a problem here. And again, it's the dual application of the law against citizens and non-citizens. If you don't think that's a problem, I don't know what world you're living in. So what else you got? I know we have a boatload of videos and memes to kind of go through.
Then I have Joe Rogan and him talking about the vaccine mandates, how, it was very hypocritical that mainly the Democrats made it to where you can't go after these pharma companies for any side effects that you got from the vaccine.
Yeah, go for it.
So I'll pull this one up real quick. Full screen it and transition. Play.
That whole thing they pulled off with exemption of pharmaceutical companies being responsible for injuries from vaccines.
From the vax was crazy.
It's crazy because you just empower these people that have lied forever. Yeah, it does still exist.
And it still exists, and that is totally insane. And I took the vax, and I haven't been boosted or anything, but the moment where I really started to get red pilled on the whole vax thing was the sickest that I've been in the last 15 years by far was when I took the vaccine. And I've had COVID at this point 5 times. I was in bed for 2 days. My heart was racing. I was like, the fact that we're not even allowed to talk about that, even, no like serious injury, but even the fact that we're not even allowed to talk about the fact that I was as sick as I've ever been for 2 days, and the worst COVID experience I had was like a sinus infection. I'm not really willing to trade that. And you don't even, everybody that I know, or a lot of people I know, they talk about the second shot that they got of the vaccine that made them really, really sick. Well, that's a side effect, and not a side effect that we even talk about enough in this country.
No, it's also, again, we're talking about companies that have a long history of lying and being forced to pay criminal fines, and then we're giving them this exemption from being responsible for any of the side effects.
Yeah, and who do you think those big pharma companies donate to politically in 2024? I'll give you a big fat guess.
Probably Kamala Harris.
By a significant margin.
Well, it's a weird one where you're not even allowed.
And I agree with JD Vance. When I shipped off to basic training, you got to go get all those damn shots. Like you get like 20 shots. And, of course, the last one you get's the COVID vaccine because they require that crap. And, boy, I had COVID, like, again, I agree with JD Vance. It just was like the sniffles, It's like, oh, no, I have the common cold. And then I get to basic training and get this shot. I will tell you this. There's nothing worse than getting a shot at reception and then feeling like absolute hammered crap on the first couple of days of basic training. Like running around, getting yelled at, doing push-ups. Like you can't just be like, drill sergeant, I feel sick. It's like they don't give a darn. It's like everybody there got the same shot you did, but it's like tough. You had a bad reaction and you feel like hammered crap. You still got to run through all this crap with the rest of these kids. Like dude, it's not a good time. Like again, we were all guinea pigs for this, and we can't even go after Big Pharma because they've made it illegal to prosecute Big Pharma for this. It's disgusting. That good points by JD Vance there. So, what else you got, Chad?
Oh, man, I've got so much. Like, if we want to go ahead and talk about Mr. Biden's little Halloween.
Oh, Halloween. Yeah, golly. That is so, like, again, like, I remember in college people showing me, like, compilations of Biden being weird. But, now, like, it's next level stuff. I get it. The guy's old. He's trying to be like that cutesy grandpa thing. But at some point, somebody's got to be like, yo, Mr. President, this is not appropriate. Like, I've never understood the whole politicians kissing babies things, but Biden takes it to like the next level. So whenever you're ready to play,
I got it pulled up right here.
Yeah. Okay, it's kind of cute now.
Yeah.
He's going to take it to the next level.
And that's not the only one. Like,
yeah.
that's just the first one. Here's the second one right here.
Oh, God.
Fast forward it to where the baby actually gets up there. There we go.
Oh, this is where he puts the whole foot in his mouth.
This is where he puts the whole baby's foot in his mouth. It's kind of cute, but it's not your kid. What are you doing to other people's children? He's always had this weird thing of sniffing and being around kids, but we're also starting to see maybe his dog learned his bad biting habits from him.
It's just weird, and again, I don't know, man. Like, just, it's not your kid, it's not your grandkids. Like, you're trying to be cute and funny, but that is so strange. Like, I'm going to put this baby's entire foot in my mouth. Like, just somebody his handlers need to do something. They are so beyond caring about Joe Biden in this administration anymore that, like, it's all their efforts on Kamala. Like, Joe Biden can do whatever the heck he wants now, Joe Biden could probably murder somebody, and they'd be like, "Yo, that's just Joe being Joe."
Oh, Joe.
Oh, Joe. But yeah, no, it's just so strange, they need to get handlers or something on him being like, "Mr. President, that's enough," But no.
Oh, don't you remember that bunny that they had at the Easter egg
Yeah,
thing?
the
He's like, Come
Yeah,
on,
come on,
don't
Mr.
stop and
President.
sniff the kids. Come with me.
Come with me, Mr. President. Yeah, God.
You know that was some like Secret Service agent or like one of his aides. It's like, no, don't stop. Come with me.
Come with me. Follow the Easter Bunny. Who's really in charge?
The Easter Bunny is in charge. All right.
Saint Peter was a rabbit.
Oh man, but his next one I have pulled up is actually from his show before the JD Vance one. This is actually his show with Constantine Kissin, yeah, and Forrest Foster or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And they are talking about the fact that his Trump interview was censored on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And like Elon Musk called out YouTube and Google about this, and like so this is true. Like they are actively censoring stuff that has Trump in it and makes Trump look good.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, this is wild. So I'll just pull this up, and it's again Joe Rogan talking with Constantine Kissin and Foster about his censorship during his Trump interview, or I should say conversation, because he really doesn't interview people; he has conversations.
Yeah.
But they're talking about that and how wild it is that the media is not talking about that, and the fact that it still has almost like 50 million. It's, it was 41 last we checked. It's probably getting close to 50 million views by now.
Well, again, I mean, it doesn't matter. The media doesn't care. I mean, the media doesn't care when it favors them.
Exactly. Exactly. But we'll go ahead and play this real quick.
Something happened. I'm sure it was a mistake at YouTube where you couldn't search for it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was a mistake.
It has
There's
to be a
no way
mistake,
that was
Joe.
on purpose. And so if you Googled Rogan Trump,
They got to Joe. They
you-
got to
you
Joe.
could
He's
only
apologizing.
You could only get clips. You couldn't watch the whole
Yeah,
episode. You
yeah.
couldn't find it.
Yeah.
And so we reached out to them a couple of times, and they fixed it to their credit. So now you can find it.
Oh, good.
But so in the meantime, Elon was furious, and so Elon contacted Daniel Ek at Spotify, and they put it on X as well. So now it's on X. The full, and so now it has way more views. Because I think on Elon's alone, what is it on Elon's alone? Because Elon posted it and I posted it. This morning, I posted it last night. I woke up, it was like 6.5 million views on mine and 8+ million on his. So it's
Wild.
you can't suppress shit. It doesn't work. This is the internet. This is 2024. People are going to realize what you're doing. If you try to make it so that something can't come up in a search engine because it's too popular, first of all, if that's not trending, you tell me what the fuck is.
Whoa.
Okay, so what's it at now? 8.6 million on mine, and what's it on Elon's? Because he has a lot more people on his than me. So that's just from last night. But you can't fucking suppress shit anymore. Like when you're saying that's why is that not in
You
the
can go ahead and
trending?
pause it.
You have
But yeah, I mean, there you go, guys. I mean, Joe Rogan, the most popular podcaster in the world, was being suppressed on YouTube. I mean, look, at some point, people at YouTube have got to be like, we are shooting ourselves in the foot. Like, the more views Joe Rogan's video gets, the more money we make here at YouTube. But that's the thing. I mean, they are so politically partisan. They are so politically jaded that they would rather not make money and hurt Donald Trump than allow Joe Rogan's video to organically get to 100 million views. But they don't want Trump to look human. They don't want Trump to be humanized. And again, this might not be the entire cabal of YouTube or Google. It could just be one random software engineer being like, I'm not going to let this happen. I'm going to change the algorithm or I'm going to suppress it. It's like, it could be one person. But I mean, we all know that Google has 60% pro-positive thing. Whenever you Google anything about Democrats, it's going to be primarily left-wing sources, primarily positive things about Democrats. And when you do, it's going to be 40% pro stuff for conservatives. Like, that is a huge margin. Like, it may not sound like it, but that 20% pro-Democrat versus pro-Republican thing is huge. That little bit can tip the scales of, again, how you view reality. It's like, oh, I mean, again, remember, Google it did not used to be a phrase like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Google it turned into a phrase because that's how you go out and research and find truth.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a scary thought, the fact that people can have that level of power and be like, Google it.
Yeah. So the technology companies do it through algorithmic manipulation or just shadow banning like we talk about on Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that. Then we have the media here, which is the next one that I was pulling up, is we talk about how they talk about cheap fakes, how these people are making videos of Biden, looking silly. It's a cheap fake because they're taking it out of context. Well, here is them literally editing videos saying having Trump say something that he didn't even say. Like right here, they make it to where he's like, I don't care if women don't want it or not. And they think that that's him talking about abortion. And the actual clip has nothing to do with that. So here is literally how the media is portraying Trump's speech when this speech had nothing to do with abortion, but the media has literally portrayed it as though this was an abortion talk.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and play this. This is wild.
They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say. I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. 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 I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. Kamala has imported criminal migrants from prisons and jails, from insane asylums and mental institutions all over the world, from Venezuela to the Congo, including savage criminals who assault, rape, and murder our women and girls. Anyone who would let monsters kidnap and kill our children does not belong anywhere near the Oval Office. And my people told me about 4 weeks ago, I was saying, no, I want to protect the people. I want to protect the women of our country. I want to protect the women. Sir, please don't say that. Why? They said, we think it's very inappropriate for you to say. I said, why? I'm president. I want to protect the women of our country. They said. They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say. Pay these guys a lot of money. Can you believe it? I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them.
My goodness.
Completely taken out of context. It was him saying, I don't care if the women want me to protect them or not. I'm going to protect the women of the United States from these illegal immigrant criminals. And they took it to where it's, oh, he's talking about abortion. I don't care if the women like it or not. With all those clips right there of them saying abortion, he's attacking abortion or, women's right to, choose or whatever.
Folks, that is evil. That is evil. Willfully misrepresenting someone. And again, it is just but that goes to show you the level of desperation that they have for not wanting Donald Trump to win. And it's crazy. I could not imagine willfully misrepresenting somebody like that, but they don't have a problem with it because the only thing that matters is power. And again, if you've been convinced that Donald Trump is a Nazi, if you've been convinced that Donald Trump is the next Hitler, why wouldn't you lie to stop him from getting to power? Why wouldn't you do whatever it takes to stopping Hitler? And that's what we have. We have a bunch of mentally unwell people who have bought into this, and they'll be like, we'll do whatever it takes. That's why he's been nearly assassinated twice. Mm-hmm. 3 times, I guess, because they had that Iranian guy that they captured, but the news.
That's the one that they said that he might have been paying one of the 2 other guys.
Right.
But yeah, that still counts as a conspiracy to, commit murder against a former or a hopefully soon to be president of the United States.
But yeah, it's absolutely it's batshit. Yeah.
But this next one here is in regards to this lady. This lady shuts down this lady talking about she's a single issue woman voter that's just it's my body, my choice thing. And this conservative lady just wrecks her arguing right here on this little News Nation panel. It's wild. So check this out.
Which candidate has the capacity to go like this to everybody? The person who isn't going to change their mind constantly? The person who didn't put Supreme Courts in justice that took my rights away? I don't even need to say that person's name. You know exactly who it is.
So, Jenna, let's get a balanced take on it. Tiffany Justice, co-founder of the Moms for Liberty. How do you believe the issue of not just reproductive rights, but where women are going to be in terms of what they will prioritize in this election?
Yeah, I think Jenna's right. I think American women are infuriated, and we're infuriated about the fact that only 1/3 of children are reading on grade level in America's public schools. Where was my body, my choice during COVID?
Yes.
Right? So, it's almost 9 o'clock. We spent a lot of time talking about something that is now an issue for the states to handle. And I think it's time we start talking about where we really are in America when it comes to kids. And as far as Jenna's point about which candidate is going to put their arms around everyone, you know what I see? I was at MSG. I gave the invocation on Sunday, and I saw RFK there. I saw Tulsi Gabbard there. I saw people in that audience that have never voted Republican before in their lives, and they're coming together to support Donald Trump. So we're looking towards the future. We're very concerned about the health issues that we're seeing across the country, and making America great again, making America healthy again is something that American moms want.
Do you believe that?
Heck yeah, that was
good.
Great
That was
little
great.
speech. Then, speaking of which, this kind of brings up that next little point that we were kind of talking about regarding vaccination. Democrats in January of 2022. My body, it said, and this is the post, my body, my choice. Take this or you're going to jail, you'll be unemployed, or we'll take your kids away. So Republicans fine the unvaccinated. As you can see, only 20%. Democrats, almost 60%. Lock unvaccinated people at home. Again, Republicans just a little over 20%, so about 20% still. Democrats just shy of 60%. Same. It's like the same thing with Republicans every single time. Send unvaccinated to quarantine camps. 20%, just a little over 20% for Republicans. Democrats, pretty much like at 50%. Take children away from unvaccinated parents. Republicans immediately shied away from that. It's less than like 10% on that one. Democrats, at least they backed away a little on that one, but it's about 50% still. Then fine and imprison critics of the vaccine. Republicans, probably about 15% by the looks of it. Democrats, 50%. So 50% of the Democrats that they interviewed, or whatever this poll comes from, are all for doing these horrible things and taking away people's rights. It's not your body, your choice. But for some reason, when the women, and the men that they choose to have relations with and possibly have kids with, their body, their choice.
Yeah.
Makes 0 sense. 0 sense.
Yeah, it's crazy. But again, it just goes to show you which side is more authoritarian. Like, I get it. It was a special circumstance with COVID where people thought that people were dying in droves. I mean, remember, CNN had the kill count whenever Trump was in office, and then whenever Biden got in the office, they turned off the kill count.
Yes,
because they're trying to prime you. They're trying to manipulate you. So,
yeah.
And again, COVID was not as bad as they made it out to be. It was like the flu. In fact, the flu still kills more people than COVID did.
Yep. And then here's this next one that I'm kind of pulling up. It's also related. Community Notes has literally made it so easy to
thank God for
X.
Elon Musk and taking over X or
But
Twitter.
this guy right here has this thing from Nicholas Kristoff. A struggling Nevada mom suffers a miscarriage. Then police show up to arrest her for manslaughter. She is sentenced to 2.5 to 8 years in prison. Only when a pro bono lawyer steps up to appeal does the judge reverse the conviction and set her free to return to her children. So here is the actual context behind this of why she was arrested. She smoked meth while she was pregnant. 2 crimes right there. Her baby was well past viability. Autopsy said at 28 to 32 weeks. She admitted she did it to kill her baby. The law enforcement believes that the baby was born alive and then it was killed. This was in 2018, before Roe v. Wade was even overturned. So this is them manipulating actual events that happened, just like with that African-American lady that took the abortion pill, had a bad reaction to it, and then she tried to get care or whatever, but the thing had already taken its toll on her. It was the pill that they had given her that they're like, she just bought and just took. She didn't like get a doctor's recommendation or anything, but like the left just goes, look at this. It's because of these Republicans that this lady dies. Like, that is not true.
Yeah.
At all.
She did it because that option was readily available to her. And again, that's the same pill that they used to the abortion pill, or that pill that she used. It's the same pill that the Nazis developed and gave to Jewish women so they'd stop reproducing. You are polluting your womb. Like, I mean, if you take these kind of pills, like, don't expect to ever have a kid again. It's poison. You are literally putting poison in your body. And you're just hoping that, like, the baby absorbs all the poison and not your body. Like, I mean, you are living. That's crazy to think. But yeah, sorry. Yeah.
We're running out of time, but like, we'll just cover these last couple of issues that we're having. Like I said, first off, we have this. Would you shut that blind for me real quick? It's really,
you bet. In fact, I'll let you finish up the show.
Okay, I'll let you get downstairs. But yeah, the last couple things that I'm going to bring up will be some weird election stuff going on right now. regarding voting, this electronic voting stuff. And as you can see here, this guy is trying to vote for Donald Trump, but the machine is not letting him click on it. But it immediately clicked to Harris. It went to Harris Walls. So this is really scary. This is really scary stuff. This is why I'm in complete agreement that we need to make voting be paper ballots again and be hand counted with like 3 representatives there, Democrat, Republican, and an independent. Because this is some scary stuff right here, if this is true. And like this is not just, there are many more accounts like this that are coming up from issues like this. Here's one from a guy that's being interviewed on Alex Jones, which, you know, the Alex Jones was right jar is turning into a thing. So I'm going to rewind this so we can listen
I found the source of exactly where all these illegals are getting put on the voter rolls, and it's going to be made public very, very soon. And I'll tell you right now where it is. And it's an organization called the Electronic Registration Information Center. It's led by a guy named David Becker, who was involved in a scandal while he was a U.S. attorney, and he essentially contacted the city of Boston while he worked for the DOJ, and the DOJ sued Boston over voting rights, claiming that he would help them get out of it. He then worked for PFAW, the People for the American Way, a far-left organization. Then he went on to work for Pew. And with George Soros' money, he created an organization called the Electronic Registration Information Center, which is known as ERIC. And then ERIC contracts with the states to get your DMV records, all that sensitive data that nobody else can get, that's protected under the Driver's Privacy Protection Act. That's where they're finding out the ineligible voters. That's where they're finding out who in the state isn't registered to vote. And their membership agreement prohibits you from disclosing to them who is or is not a citizen. So you send all the information to people that live there. Don't tell them if they're citizens or not. And they pump those names onto the voter rolls, and then they circulate it back. And then they give it to the other organization David Becker found, which is the Center for Election Innovation and Research, which is the recipient of all those Zucker bucks from back in 2020.
That is wild. That is absolutely wild. So if all this is true, they have been manipulating. This has been going on for years. Just like what we talked about with that standoff at the Battle of Athens in McMinn, or the War of McMinn County, between the veterans and the Democratic Party that were just rigging those elections. They would just close the ballots, and then they'd count the ballots, and then mysteriously the sheriff, who was the Democratic representative, would always seem to win. So this has been going on for a while. So Democrats have been doing these shady tactics for years now. And this has been going on for a long time. Who knows how many times that this has happened. This is why we need voter IDs, and we need to have paper ballots. So, again, I will say it again. We need to vote in person, have IDs, and it needs to be paper ballots counted by hand. Because at least if someone can kind of cheat, at least if one of the things happen where you have 3 representatives there, at least maybe someone can be bought off or cheat or fill out something, but it can't be at this mass level the way you can do with electronic ballots. It is absolutely ridiculous and scary that they can do stuff like this. And then not to mention the fact that illegal immigrants count to the population count, which also gives voter, because the electoral college votes is given to, well, your population size. Illegal immigrants are counted in the population size, even though they're not citizens. I think only citizens should be counted in the population size. That would take away California and New York several of their electoral votes, and would have changed how the election outcomes would be for years. But that's just some of that stuff. And then we have this one right here. And this is crazy. If this is true, that they did something like this. Like, they've already mistakenly announced the election result victory. So let me refresh this and we'll watch this again really quick.
Call me a crazy conspiracy theorist if you want, but it's kind of hard to call an election that hasn't even happened yet. You don't mistakenly or accidentally publish election results that you don't even have yet unless you were actively, blatantly trying to cheat. Call me a crazy conspiracy theorist if you want, but It's kind of hard.
Now, you could argue that, maybe they're just making it to where they have both papers ready to go, but accidentally airs the election results for this one. Kind of sketchy. But that's really about it. I'll have a video that I'll play us out on, but this was the Twins with Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. God bless you, everybody. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and share it around with your friends and family so help our channel grow. Thanks, and have a great day. And I'll play us out with a funny little meme video. See you guys later.
Come on, Patrick. The more the merrier.
Alien hunting! Alien hunting!
Look at him squirming around in there.
Crows.
Well, plenty more where those came from. Come on, Patrick.